media manager, and we make promo gear, shirts, and yeah, thank you for coming. Now, we're going to cover some basics in cannabis. How many people here smoke weed? All right. See, hopefully everybody's hands up right now.
Right, there you go.
I hope you've been smoking weed today, because today we're celebrating cannabis, because we've really come a long way. You know, I remember when I was growing up, I was getting arrested for weed numerous times, and it really came a long way where now I'm at a show with weed and police, and I take photography, I take pictures, and today I got a picture of we have a mascot, his name's Bonfolio, he's a singing bong, and he's rolling around on his scooter. I had some of the girls webcamming, and then the cop, and all in one picture. And so it was just like, it's like, wow. But yeah, Dan?
Fun times. Hey everybody, I'm Danny Loa. I'm the editor of HoneyNJ.com. We're a media company covering New Jersey cannabis and plant medicine news here in the community for the Great Garden State. It's been a lot of fun, you know, covering the basics of this. It's been going on for, you know, like some 5 years now. We have like a market now. It's been really fun to cover that after the politics of it and, you know, the culture here, like this great event. Now that like we can be here and it's like really fun that this is like a great event in this place, but it's like children play with dinosaurs bones like over there like 3 months ago. So like this is a really fun place to be, you know, near my home. So here we are. Thank you. So, Jake, introduce yourself.
So I'm Brian Toman, world champion joint roller, sponsored by Roll and pretty much all the big name rolling companies. Basically, it could help answer any questions that you have with rolling issues. Rolling joints and rolling blunts are completely two different techniques, so a lot of people try to use one or the other and struggle, and our is fly. So I can try to help you with that.
Nice, thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna start this panel off by saying like, if we're gonna have like consumers now might not know like all about this, you know, great like plant to people. Some people know everything. You know, you're like an expert in like the nuance of these things. So, but like a lot of people are like new to it. So what would you say, newbies? Hi, how are you? I don't know what I'm doing here. Can you help? I'm gonna get high. Can you help me, please?
So basically to start, I would say maybe getting a small joint to start and just taking a few puffs, putting it down for a good 20 minutes and just seeing how you're feeling. If you feel good, then if you want to, relight it. But if not, like most people will tend, when they first start out, to over-medicate themselves, and then they get a negative connotation with what the plant is. Even though that has a lot of amazing benefits, it can definitely be too much for some people to start. So to start slow is not a bad thing.
Chris?
You know, for your first time, you should definitely not take edibles, preferably. I know a lot of people are kind of scared to smoke, maybe. That's kind of like, you know, it's kind of the thing I hear a lot. It's, I want to try cannabis, but I don't want to smoke or get high. So it's kind of like making that leap into, yes, I'm going to take some cannabis, and there's a way to use it where you can moderately take it. You don't have to get super fucked up, and, you know, like, and that's just in the education, like knowing your dosage and knowing your milligrams. So that's why one of the good things in the market now that you can have exact dosages, and you know that it's actually 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams that you're taking. Yeah, I would suggest probably smoke a joint, take a couple hits off a joint, and, you know, and put it down, just like he said. That's what you got to do. And you kind of have to like jump over that hurdle. Like at first, like when you first smoke cannabis, it's kind of like, wow, you're high, and you have this like crazy experience. But like after that is really when you start using medically. Like after a while, it starts affecting you. Like you don't use it so much like to party, but you use it to like, you see the different benefits it has. Like it calms your stomach, you know. I use it for my back. I was in a car accident for pain, so, and anxiety, and there's all different types of ways you can use it.
Nice, thank you. It's good points there. Lefty?
I'm Lefty Grimes. I'm with sativacross.org as well. And I'm going to roll a blunt and a clamshell roller here. Normally you wouldn't do that, but I've actually figured out a way to do it where you can actually make it work. And I'll check back in with you later about how my progress here. It's not going to be as beautiful as yours, but it's going to be a blunt. Have you ever done a blunt? Have you ever rolled a blunt, like into something artful?
Yeah, definitely. So with blunt rolling, it's a lot different than joint rolling because each leaf is different. So you can't roll every single blunt the same exact way. Each one you're gonna have to try to find your own way. The way that blunts are cut is they cut along with the stem, but if you roll against the stem, it's going to give you a lot of issues. But if you follow along with it and try to put the blunt back how it came together, then it'll almost roll itself back together. So it just depends on the leaf that you get to and where it's from. Like if you get like a white owl or something, there's going to be no stems in it. But if you get something like this, where it's like a fronto leaf, there's going to be stems in it, and do you see how there's like the stems come at an angle, they're not like straight? So basically you would roll it so you roll with the angle of the stems so that it doesn't resist you, and then it pretty much rolls itself up back in.
I also flatten the stem out with a lighter or something smooth.
I use a little rolling pin.
Yeah, something just to make it a little more pliable.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
How fast can you roll a blunt? The fastest you can roll a blunt?
The thing about rolling is it's not a race.
Wow, okay.
Like, I'd rather just have the perfect smoke and take 10 extra minutes. I mean, I've made some people wait like 4 hours for one roll.
Wow.
You look at rolling as
What do they, do you mind if I ask what they, how do you do the competitions then? What are the competitions based on? Are they not speed? What are they based on?
So, like, with the competition style stuff, the competitions that I compete in are the creative rolling ones. So basically anything you can think of, like, I don't know, Bugs Bunny. I can turn it into a joint that looks like Bugs Bunny. So those ones, it's like you'll have a whole year in advance to get your submissions ready. It's an all online competition. Raw hosts it every year, and they announce the winners on 420.
So is it like paper mache when you're doing it like that, almost?
So there's two different styles of doing it. One is like molding, which a lot of people do. I struggle with that because I don't have the patience for it.
Okay.
I just like to continuously be working, but with molding, if it's too wet, you have to just let it sit for hours until it's dry and then come back to it. But like, I just like to keep picking things up and keep working on them. So I freehand everything. So every shape, every angle, like I figure out a way how to roll it and like get it to smoke right.
What do you use for your medium, like your papers and stuff? Like, are they large papers? Are they like little papers? Are they?
So basically, Raw sent me a like the bobbin that they use to like on their machine with all their papers, but it's like a 5-foot wide one, and there's like a bunch of like little glue strips like in the middle, and then they cut right down the middle of that glue strip, and then they make individual papers with it. They just sent it to me before they did that, so I just have this ginormous paper that I can make like any
I can do such cool things with that. So awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. This mic, not the best. So, so I was going to ask everybody to say, like, what's your favorite method of consumption and why? But I think I might know yours already. But I guess, like, if you roll, it's like, what's your favorite thing to roll then?
So, surprisingly, I like to take dabs because I roll all day long. So, after rolling for 10 hours straight, you don't really want to roll another one for yourself. So I take dabs because it gives me a good like mental break. It's like, oh, I can take this and enjoy it, but it doesn't feel like I'm just still working. But for most people, it's not like that. You're not just going to be rolling for 10 hours straight at any point. But yeah.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
The curiosity. do they have to be smokable? Like, is it like part of the competition that you have to be able to light and smoke this thing?
Yeah, so it's all based off of previous winners of the competition become judges. So they have experience of like knowing if something is going to smoke or not, based on the angles and how the roller prepared the roll. There's a thing called plumbing. It's basically like Canagar. So you
Rate his roll.
Honestly, for using the roller, that's pretty fire. Probably like a good 8. Pronto is not
So
easy to roll.
that's an easy way for patients to roll if you're not a world champion joint roller, you can roll it in one of these little clamshells.
Yeah, clamshells, great. You need a grinder, it makes life easier with a grinder, although some people like to break it up with their fingers, old school, but I like either. I use some vanilla leaves, I'm not promoting them, but I like these are good. They have the big leaves too, to cut those up.
Yep.
They're usually not thicker, and the stem is like monstrous on those.
So yeah, that's a European style leaf versus the leaves that we're getting that are thicker style broadleafs. They're typically from Virginia. It's just the climate that we have versus what Europeans have. They can grow a thinner leaf that's like still has good tension to it and won't rip, but it's crazy thin. But in Virginia, they have broadleafs which are a little thicker and a little easier to roll. Like all of backwoods are rolled with broadleafs.
Now these flavored blunt rollers, the blunt papers, is that chemicals that they spray on there?
Yeah,
it's
so
not real chocolate, right?
Yeah, so like backwoods specifically, they do make natural leaf ones. They're called Pennsylvanias or something like that. But mainly, like all of their flavored leaves, they take the normal leaf and then they take a spray with more nicotine and flavoring, and then they spray it on and coat it over it. So it's like not the best for you at all. If you were to like wash off the leaf, like it turns like an entire like paper towel like brown. But like if you were to wash off one of those loose leaves, they have like nothing come off of it because they were already washed and it's just a leaf, nothing sprayed on it, no additives.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the. They're adding all these terpenes to the papers, and then on like the market they're adding like terpene infused flour, and it gives it an extra. But the problem is the terpenes that they're using, they're
Can we say what's terpenes, Chris?
So terpenes is the essence of the flower. So all the little sticky trichomes on the end of the buzz that contains all the THC, CBD, there's 100 different cannabinoids, and the terpenes give the plant the smell. And all plants have a distinct terpene. Like oranges have citrus terpene profile, and so that's what gives. So the terpenes that they're using, they're coming from oranges, or they're either using natural terpenes that come from different fruits, or they're using artificial terpenes, or they're just making it in the lab to make it smell like bubblegum. You know, so and that's what they're adding to the paper, and sometimes they're adding it to the bud, which I would definitely stay away from any terpene added things. Like they had like the Mike Tyson roll the other day. Had the toad, and it was like it's good for flavoring and stuff, but it's like if you really want to taste the flower, which is what I want to do, so I wouldn't go with anything terpene added.
Isn't it true that the terpenes in your marijuana are also the same similar to the same terpenes found in some like oranges and herbs?
Yeah, like they can use cannabis derived terpenes, and that would be better. Like especially in the vapes, you get that a lot in the vapes, because especially when you come to the distillate vapes. Distillate vapes, when they go through the distillation process, it strips everything out. It's only 99% THC. It doesn't have CBD. It doesn't have any terps. It doesn't have any smell or taste. And now you're in a position where they're reintroducing the flavoring to the oil. So they can either use cannabis-derived terpenes, but that's more expensive because you have to extract cannabis, and now you're not using it to get high. You're using it just to get the smell and the essence of it. You know? So like companies tend to get natural occurring and artificial terpenes because they're cheaper. And so that's what they're putting into the vapes, into distillate vapes at least. Distillate opposed to a live product, a live resin product. It's a whole plant, and that has cannabis terpenes already extracted in it. So that's where you get the differences from the oils. So the distillate, they're reintroducing terpenes into it. Live resin and hash resin, it has the whole plant. It has all the cannabis terpenes that you want, all in that. So
to add on that, so distillate is extracted through a process called VHO. So they use butane hash extraction to get all of the THC out, and it separates all the CBD and all of the, basically all the things you would want in it, besides the thing that's gonna get you high. And then on the backside, they will add that in. But on solventless materials, they flash freeze the plant right after they cut it. So it freezes all of those terpenes that are volatile to, once you dry out that plant and cure the flower, it'll lose all of those terpenes that are volatile to being dissolved by basically like the air and the temperature around it. So solventless is a little bit cleaner because it's just ice water and they're just pressing it afterwards. So it's a cleaner material and you get everything that you'd want from it. But because of that, you see a premium price on it.
And just touching back on terpenes. Terpenes really affect like the high that you're gonna get out of the product. So a lot of people get the misconception of buying per THC percentage and don't regard the terpenes, because that's what's really gonna affect your high. So lemon terpenes, that are limene, anything that smells really lemony, that's gonna uplift you. That's a sativa. You know, anything citrusy, lemony. Anything.
What's sativa?
Sativa is the classification of the plant that kind of, weed kind of makes you do two things. It makes you get up or it makes you go down, right? So sativa is the classification of plant where they say it kind of uplifts you. And so anything lemony smelling, that's gonna be a sativa. So that's gonna wake you up. Anything more gassy smelling, like skunky, that's gonna be indica, in the couch. You're gonna be sleeping. So when you're picking your weed throughout the day, you know, you don't want to smoke something real gassy in the morning. You're gonna be all tired, you know. You want to smoke something like really lemony, light sativa, and yeah.
Right, that's always like the thing about cannabis is like there is like a strain for you, for example, for like what you want at that time of the day. Like if you want like a peppy strain, like a peppy smoke at a party, like you can get that. You can like smoke, you can get edibles, you know, sometimes like that. But you can definitely get like indica edibles, for example, if you just want to watch like a movie, for example, and get like smoking to that, for example. So I think that would be fun. I guess for like Tristan's the dad here. I think you're a big dad guy. Then you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the most efficient way to really consume. Sometimes you don't have time to smoke a whole joint, you know, and or even smell like it, because now you can just take a dab real quick, and you don't smell as much. It's way more efficient. It's cleaner because you're not burning, you're not combusting, you're not burning plant material.
Don't forget, also knocks you on your butt. So don't forget, it also knocks you on your butt.
Yeah. Well, that's why a little dab will do you. So that's why it's efficient, but you know, it can be a little bit too efficient at times. You know.
Yeah, they're very strong tabs. I would not recommend that to anybody that's new, actually, but you should know what it is because it's fun.
The thing is with cannabis is all about your tolerance. Like going back to like I was saying, the first time you smoke, you're like, oh wow, I'm super high. And it takes a little bit where the cannabis builds up in your system, and your cannabinoids, and you have the cannabinoid receptors in your body that kind of get like recharged, you know, you're reintroducing cannabinoids. And once you get those full and you got build a tolerance, and you get more benefit out of it, and then like you can obviously smoke more. You know, so once you start dabbing, your tolerance goes out the roof, you know, so it's kind of like smoking a joint becomes kind of like a cigarette, like, because you start adding the wax to the joint. That's the road that leads down to. Now you're waxing joints. You're putting beef on the joints. They get real creative. I don't know if you've seen.
Right, these are all like technical terms of the concept.
I've seen a little display. It was like all a little house, and it was all made out of wax and keef. It was like snow. And so they get a little creative with like cannabis art.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of
and yeah, so this is the Carta V2. Now the portable rig has really came a long way. When I started dabbing, you know, the wax was black. We called it poop soup, and we were using a big blowtorch and heating up a titanium nail until it was red hot. And then we're like, yeah, red means go. So like since then, there's been a lot of education about the temperature you should be consuming concentrates at, and now we know low temp is way better because obviously you don't want to inhale something 700 degrees. Like I keep my rig at like 400 degrees, and like actually like 395 on because if you have the Carta V2, it kind of runs a little hot. So but anywhere between like 350 up to like 600 is a good temperature. Hash rods you kind of want to do a little bit lower because then you can really taste the terps, and at a lower temp the terps really come out. You know, so if it's too hot, you're burning the terps, and terps burn at a certain temperature. You know. But yeah, and the vapes are great too now that they're convenient, and that's what really makes the concentrate.
What's a vape?
A vape is a portable device, you know, kind of like the nicotine vapes, but has cannabis oil in it. And that's what we were talking about before too, that some vapes have distillate and some vapes have live resin. And I would always go for the live resin. Now distillate does have its places too. I would use a distillate one when you have to be more discreet, where like you're in an environment where you have to sneak a vape and it doesn't smell like weed, because the ones that are distillate don't smell like weed, they smell like strawberry, and people think it's normal vape. So the live resin hash ones do smell like weed, so everyone's gonna know.
Nice. Lefty, I think I have a good question for you. Let's say I'm somebody who's like got ailments. You know, I'm thinking about becoming like a medical cannabis patient. What would you say to them?
Well, I have a lot of ailments. I have an artificial disc L4L5, a fusion L5S1, a 2-level cervical fusion. And when I had my 2-level cervical fusion, I didn't use any opiates at all, zero. And I was surprised. I was actually shocked because I had cannabis my whole life. And here I am after surgery, not using any opiates. And I had the opiates sitting there on the dresser, ready if I needed them, but I didn't need them. I use cannabis oils, I use cannabis tincture, cannabis edibles, and cannabis suppositories. Actually, the cannabis suppository was very helpful. I'm actually going to demonstrate how I inserted the cannabis stuff. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I got you, though. You know you had no. But it was helpful, I'm telling you, and it's maybe uncomfortable, but you know what? You just lay down for a half hour, and I didn't take any friggin' pills for this surgery. 2-level cervical fusion. That's amazing. I also had a pastor pray for me, which is also 11% of recovery, but that's also another thing. And I believe there's a spiritual use for cannabis as well, and especially if you're sick. It helps so many different ailments. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible for a reason. And I believe if you're a patient, I can help you get off opiates. If you have an opiate addiction, I can help you. I can help you walk through it because I did it. I was on opiates for 10 years. My prescription was 90 milligrams every 3 hours. That's an insane amount if you know what opiates are.
Wow.
That's an insane amount of opiates. They're already trying to kill me.
That's a lot, and that's very similar to heroin. Wow.
It was terrible. So it took me 10 months to get off the opiates. I tried the first time, I failed. I tried the second time, the third time. And I'm going down to 90 to 45 to 30. I'm titrating down to 40, 30, 15, 8. I hit a wall at 4 milligrams. So at that point, I had to go cold turkey. And I would literally be on the floor in my room in the fetal position at the third day. Because of my pain, because of the withdrawals, it was horrible. And then the fourth time, I actually succeeded, and I got off those damn opiates, and it was, I felt so much better.
You ever use cannabis to get off? Did that
Only cannabis. Only cannabis. That's all.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. But I didn't make it easy on myself. At that time, I didn't know about suppositories, or I didn't have edibles. I didn't have tincture. I had a big bag of sour diesel, and that just worked for me.
Nice.
For whatever reason.
Smoking blunt, rolling joints, pipe, bong, everything, all the above.
So don't feel hopeless if you can't get off those opiates. It took me 4 times, and it's not easy. It'll be probably the hardest thing you ever do, but it'll be worth it. And cannabis is your friend for that if you need help. And reach out to us. We have experience.
Yeah, so if I'm gonna be so what's like be involved with becoming a patient? Would you say, and what are like the best benefits?
Smoking in public is always good. Well, it cost me $1,600 for my card. I don't know if anyone has ever paid that much. I paid more than anybody I know. $1,600 for the card. I had to wait a year. This is back in 2013.
Right.
And a cop told me he would arrest me if I pulled out my medical cannabis. I said, oh, this is not good. And that's when I created the Ignorance is No Excuse tour. I started going to a police station because I was mad that I spent all this money and time waiting for a card that doesn't mean nothing. The police are going to arrest me anyway. So I'm like, okay, if they're coming for me, I'm going to go to them. So I went to all the police stations I could have in New Jersey. And I would ask them, where do I smoke weed in New Jersey? I throw my jar on the table. Excuse me, I just bought this jar of grape water. Where do I smoke this around here? And they would look at me like I'm crazy. The greatest thing ever. And they would have to call everybody. They called their sergeant, or lieutenant, called the captain, called their wife. One guy called his wife. And they called the prosecutor's office. And finally they said, yeah, you can go smoke by the flagpole. You can smoke by that bench over there. And it was